So, I'm playing poker with you while I'm doing this, so I might have to not be as good at this as I normally would be. But I'm the Huns in this game, which means that they don't have, one of their perks is that they don't have to build houses. So that's why it says 6 out of 200 at the top already. And it's really good for saving wood, obviously, in the long run. And another one of their bonuses is that they get 25% cheaper cavalry archers, which is really good for my Castle Age rush that I like to do. Well, it's not really a rush, it's more just a Castle Age attack, but... So right now, I'm just kind of scouting around my area and bringing in sheep and taking advantage of the free food. And in the beginning, I was having kind of a hard time finding as many sheep and boar as I normally would find. So it was kind of a rough start for me, and I just kind of played sloppy all around this game, so it's not a very impressive game, but it's the most recent one I played, so I figure you might as well might want to see it anyway. So you usually have 2 boar that are around your city. There's that first one that I just lured in, and I had trouble finding the second one. Right there, I just rang the town bell so that I could collect all my food resources so I could have enough food to keep production going for my creating villagers. Hang on, I got a raise here. So yeah, not a whole lot to talk about, I guess, in the beginning. Just chopping wood with a few guys and not doing any stone until later in the game because it's not needed in the beginning. And I finally found my second boar, it looks like, so I'm about to lure that in. Basically, my strategy in the beginning of the game is to spend more time in the Dark Age, so that once I get to Feudal Age, I can click up to Castle Age pretty quickly. And I'm not really sure how familiar you are with this game, so I'm just going to kind of talk to you as if you know hardly anything. But basically, there's 4 different ages. There's Dark Age, where you barely get anything, and then Feudal Age, which you get a little bit more, Castle Age on top of that, and then Imperial Age is the last one. In a lot of games, I don't even get to Imperial Age because the game's over by the time I get to the Castle Age. So yeah, some people try and do a feudal rush, which is actually what Mecea 04 does. So he tries to get to Feudal Age faster, whereas for me, I could get up there faster, but I specifically wait until I have between 25 and 27 villagers before I click up to Feudal Age, just so that I have really good production and can get to Castle Age by 18 or 19 minutes. So right now I built that barracks when I click up to Feudal Age. That's one of the things that I always do. I have 2 people on gold so that I can get up to 200 gold so I can click to Castle Age as quickly as I can. And I'm putting it in a position where it's by the trees, so it's kind of acting, my buildings are acting as walls without actually having to build walls. And I made a pretty big mistake in this game. When I clicked the Castle Age, then I accidentally made 2 stables instead of 2 archery ranges. And right now what I'm doing with those scouts is I'm just harassing them. I'm just kind of being like a gnat in their ear. They're not going to kill many people, but what I want them to do is exactly what they're doing, pulling their villagers off of their resources to try and attack me. Because if I can just run in and out of the city for a little bit and cause like 10 villagers or however many he had there to stop working for a few seconds at a time here and there and just annoy him, then it really slows down his economy. So it's well worth it for how cheap the scouts are to make. You'll probably notice it's kind of the same strategy as the last game that you watched, because right now this is my main strategy. If I play on Black Forest or something like that, then I'll be a different race and I'll try and boom more, where I basically just wait until Imperial Age to do all of my fighting and build up a huge army. You see there's my 2 stables that I made accidentally, so my wood right now is horrible. I've only got like 85 wood, which you need to have a lot of wood and a lot of gold to make the cavalry archers that I want to make. So being that I have no wood and not a whole lot of gold either, my normal strategy is getting off to a bad start. And one thing about Castle Age too is that once you get there, that's when you can make additional town centers. So Castle Age is not only the best time to attack because you get like knights and cavalry archers and a bunch of and like siege units like battering rams and stuff, but it's also the best time to really boom your economy, because that's when you can make 2 or 3 town centers. Well, 2 in the beginning because that's how much stone you have to be able to make, and then so you can be pumping out 3 times the villagers that you normally would, and you just kind of go around the entire map and try and basically take as many resources as you can by planting a town center there. And that tower, what I'm doing by sitting up close like that, before the towers are upgraded, if you stand right underneath them, then they can't fire and hit you. So I was trying to take advantage of that distance, but those cavalry archers didn't end up doing a whole lot because there wasn't that many of them, and I waited too long to attack with them since I only had 1 archery range creating them instead of normal 2. So right now I'm just working on my economy mainly, trying to keep them busy to keep them off myself. And I've got a decent amount of wood and gold now, so I should be, there's me making it looks like a siege workshop and something else, so I can make a battering ram. But I really should be moving up to his base sometime soon here and creating a little bit more of a forward base. Right now, one of the big counters for cavalry archers is knights. So besides the cavalry archers that I'm making, I'm also making pikemen, which are those military guys that are standing next to them whenever you see them again, those little guys. And they have attack bonuses versus knights, so if I can put those 2 together, then they're a pretty decent combo. So right there, I'm moving up closer to his base. I found a patch of gold that he wasn't sitting on, so I'm building a town center there. So I can not only expand my economy a little more, but I can... sorry, I was playing poker. I can not only expand my economy a little more, but then if I need to build more villagers to drop a castle in his base, or just continue building anything into his base, then I can do that. Which is actually a mistake that I make later in the game. I try and build a castle in somebody's base, and I didn't have a town center nearby to build villagers, so yeah. Kind of ran into some trouble. So battering rams, they are basically, like, they have so much pierce damage, or pierce armor rather, that arrows from buildings do almost nothing to them. And they have a really high attack bonus versus buildings, so they took down that tower really quickly. So now I'm just going to move forward and I'm going to try and take out his town center. And I'm using the rest of my guys just to protect those battering rams. Okay, so there goes his town center. So I'm also gonna drop a castle in the middle of his base. Castles have a ton of hit points and they shoot arrows like town centers do, but the difference is that you don't need to have villagers inside the town center for them to shoot, so they just constantly shoot arrows. So they're really hard to take down until you get to Imperial Age, really, when you can get trebuchets, which are those things that launch a rock really far. So that stone's running out, and I noticed it was getting really crowded there, so I'm going to pull some of those off and find a different stone area. And what I was also doing is that Chris told me, because we're on TeamSpeak right now, so Chris was telling me that he needed help in his base, so that's why I sent those cavalry archers over to his base. And I wanted to see what's going on, so I'm also building a market in my base, because then you can research cartography, which makes it so that you can see what your ally sees. So he was kind of telling me where he was, and green has knights in his base, so I was not really using the right units for that, but he told me that green was building a castle there, so I was just going north until I saw castle, and then I killed his villagers, so that stopped the castle drop, so that was pretty big. And then after that, since my cavalry archers aren't very good against his knights, then I went back to his town center so that the knights would get killed by the arrows from his town center. Okay, so I'm building another town center by a gold patch, it looks like, in my base. And at this point, yellow's kind of screwed because his town center's gone. He doesn't really seem like anything is going on in his base. So I'm not really worried about him right now. So I'm going to go ahead and try and counterattack green to kind of help my ally out a little bit. And it's a good idea usually to finish off somebody so that they can't build back up from nothing and all of a sudden this huge army comes out of nowhere. So I think what I was doing at this time was also kind of running around Yellow's base and trying to find where he was hiding. And that sucked. Didn't realize he had guys there. I didn't see that castle until it was too late, so I just lost a couple of battering rams. Now what I was doing with that battering ram right there is I saw that yellow had a bunch of houses lined up all right next to each other. So since I couldn't actually find him, then I was just going to go and destroy as many of his houses that I could so that I could at least limit his population. So yeah, right now I'm trying to drop a castle in Green's base, but it doesn't work out that well. This is what I was telling you about earlier. He saw me do it. He must have, well, I don't know how he saw it. He must have just been paying attention and saw a red dot on his map all of a sudden. But this is what sucks, is that I've got this castle that's like 75% built, sitting there, already paid for and everything. But I've got no villagers anywhere close to this area. So I've got to, if I want to build it, then I not only need to kill all of his guys, but I need to pull guys away from my own main base, basically. And there, I didn't even notice that castle was there again, so a few more of my villagers just ran into it. So yeah, I need to pull some villagers off of my main base and walk all the way across the middle of the map just to get over there. So it kind of sucks. I should have dropped a town center further away first, out of his line of sight. But this is a very rusty game for me. I haven't played since that last recorded game, which is like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, and I'm still not even that good from when I quit playing like 6 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever it was. So yeah, he's just destroying my little forward base that I had there, and those flags on top of the building mean that I have units queued inside them. So I'm kind of releasing those guys that I had queued, and I'm seeing if I can do anything, but it turns out he has a lot more guys than I thought he did. So there's my villagers that I was pulling from my base to make a new forward, but at this point I knew that my other forward base was pretty much destroyed, so I was going to move back a little bit. Learned my lesson from the last time, so I put a town center down first. And my remaining guys, in terms of an army that I have left, I go to that area to defend those villagers making the town center. Right now I'm researching Heavy Cavalry Archer, which is an upgraded cavalry archer that you get in the Imperial Age. So I have more hit points and higher attack and things like that. And Husbandry makes all horse units run 10% faster. So I've got tons of resources right now, so really I should have been making more barracks and archery ranges and things a lot sooner than I did. I'm not really using my resources as good as I should have been. And I think I'm now just kind of realizing that, which is why I'm researching a bunch of crap. There's my town center, and now I just basically start dropping a bunch of military bases all over the place so I can make a bunch of units as fast as I can. The hard part in the later game, which I'm not even that experienced with right now because like I said, most of my games don't even go to the Imperial Age. But the hard part about it is balancing having a strong army and being able to micromanage your army while still not forgetting about your economy at home. Because if this game goes a lot longer, then the economy is going to be what's important, so I can't just forget about that. So right now I'm reaching Halberdier, which is an upgraded pikeman, which are those little guys that are good against knights, or any horse unit really. And I'm also upgrading my knights and getting them to the second level, and then which is Cavalier, and then upgrading my Cavaliers to Paladins. So my army is basically going to consist of Paladins, Halberdiers, and Cavalry Archers, with some siege units. Like, I saw that he was using Skirmishers, which are little guys that like throw spears. So to counter against them and any other ranged units that he has, like Trebuchets, then I'm going to make a couple of Onagers, or whatever they're called. Can't even think of their name right now. Basically like catapults. So now I'm also putting a castle in my base, my little forward base there, just to give it some added protection. And right now I'm just kind of going to all my military buildings and trying to click a bunch of guys in each of them to keep them pumping out. So now I've got a good amount of guys, and I've got those catapults. So kind of moving in on his guys here, seeing what I can do. And he resigned because I was coming from this side, and as you can see on the mini-map, there's blue from the other side. So Chris is attacking from the other side, and he saw that I had upgraded Paladins and upgraded Cavalry Archers and Halberdiers and everything else, and his guys were still kind of basic. So he knew that he was outmatched, and so he didn't really see a point in continuing, I guess. So, yeah. The computer's kind of frozen looking right now, so I don't know if you're getting any of this. Okay, so now it's going again. So here's the final stat screen and everything. You can kind of see how everybody matches up. And that's all there is to it. Okay, I'll see you later.